Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Siti Normaulida, NIM T 2018-6085. I am from CBI 3 and I am 5th semester. In this video, I am making for fulfilling the qualitative research assessment from Mam Sofkhatin Humaidah. In this video, I will explain what I understand in donals book, Introduction to Research in Education. The chapter 16. Okay, in the chapter we are talking about the type of qualitative research. It's got 8 types. For the first is basic qualitative research. Basic qualitative studies, also called basic interpretative studies by some, provide rich descriptive account target to understanding a phenomenon, a process, or a particular point of view from the perspective of those involved. The underlying question the research is asking is how are events, process, and activities perceived by participants? With roots in the social science, these and activities perceived uh, with roots in the social science, these basic studies might use a variety of technique for collecting data, with analyzing focus on identifying recurrent themes or patterns. So basic interpretive studies are more simplistic compared to other qualitative approach. They are not restricted to a particular phenomenon as in case studies. They do not seek to explain social cultural aspects as in ethnography, and they do not seek to enter the subject conceptual world to explain the essence as in phenomenology. The studies are, as the name implies, basic. They describe and attempt to interpret experience. Basic studies use the most common analysis technique in qualitative research, coding and looking for recurring themes. Other qualitative approaches are rooted in specific traditions that influence the question asked, the data collection process, the analysis approach, and how data are interpreted. More detail is provided about some of this specific approach to qualitative research in the rest of this chapter. And the second, case studies. Case study focus on a single unit to produce an item description that is rich and holistic. The underlying question is what are the characteristics of this particular entity, phenomenon, person, or setting. Case studies typically include multiple sources of data collection over time. The case study research starts with a particular concern or topic, and from that general area emerge forest, forest-drawn problems. A purposeful choice in made of the bounded system to be studied, and then data are collected from multiple sources and analyzed. Two kinds of analysis approach for case studies have been described: holistic analyzing of the entire case and embedded analysis that focus on specific aspects of the case. Multiple case studies require analysis across sets. And the case study has its weakness, although it can have depth. Inevitably like spreads the dynamics of an individual or one social unit might be little relationship to the dynamic of others. Some argue, however, that what we learn in a particular case can be transferred to similar situation with the reader, rather than the researchers determining what might apply to this or her context. And the third, context or document analysis. Content or document analysis is a research method applied to written or visual materials for the purpose of identifying specific and characteristic of the material. The material analysis can be textbooks, newspaper, web page, television program, advertisements, musical composition, or any of a host of other type of document. Content analysis is widely used in education. The following are some the purpose of content analysis in educational research. Read you can read in this book in chapter 16. Okay. For the fourth is ethnographic studies. Ethnographic is the in-depth study of naturally occurring behavior within a culture or entire social group. It seeks to understand the relationship between culture and behavior, with culture referring to the shared belief, values, concepts, practice, and attitudes of specific group of people. It examines what people and interprets why they do it. The term and ethnography is used to refer to both the study a culture and the end product of the research. Ethnography has moved from anthropology to other disciplines, including education, where it has become a valuable tool in understanding the process of schooling. Ethnography research on immigrant children and other minority population in U.S. school, for example, has helped educators understand the student cultural background and the discontinuity that might exist between family and school. Ethnography research has advantages and disadvantages. The main advantage is its observation of behavior in a real life setting, the assumption being that human behavior can be fully understood only by knowing the setting in which it occurs. The main limitation is uh, that the findings depend heavily on the particular research observation in interpretation of the data. And the fifth type is grounded theory studies. Grounded theory has its roots in sociology. Its goal is to inductively build a theory about a practice of or phenomenon using interview and observation as the primary data collection tools. This emphasis on theory distinguishes in from other qualitative approach. Grounded theory studies of sociological nature have focus on victims or of Alzheimer's disease and how families accommodate to the different states: drug addiction in women, chronic illness, alcoholism, eating disorders, pain management, how families make decisions about placing members in a nursing home, and so on. A grounded theory study in education might focus on mainstreaming, mentoring new teachers, integrating minorities in private prep school, classroom discipline, and many other topics. And the sixth, historical studies. Historical studies are oriented to the past rather than to the present and thus use different data collection methods from those used in other qualitative approach. Historical research is included in qualitative research because of its emphasis or interpretation in its use of non-numeric data. Historical research is the attempt to establish facts and arrive at conclusion concerning the past. The historian systematically locates, evaluates, and interprets evidence from which people can learn about the past. And number seven is narrative research. Narrative research has its roots in different humanities disciplines and focus on stories, spoken or written, told by individuals about their life. The research emphasizes sequence and chronology and a collaborative restoring process. The key question is, what is the story and its meaning as told through this person experience? The research seeks to understand the lived experience of an individual or small group. A narrative can be any text to can be any text or discourse. Narrative research provides account of human experience by collecting and analyzing stories about lives. Narrative research is not designed to be an historical record, but rather it is designed to understand the perspective of the storyteller in the context of his or her life. Narrative analysis is categorized based on who, who was the author, whose perspective is present, whether there is one or more narrative, the scope of the narrative, or one or more episodes versus an entire life, and the conceptual framework of the research. And the last type is phenomenological research. A phenomenological study is designed to describe and interpret an experience by determining the meaning of the experience as perceived by the people who have participated in it. What is the experience of an activity or concept from the perspective of particular participant? Then that is the key question in phenomenology. This belief is characteristic of all qualitative studies, but the element that distinguishes phenomenology from other qualitative approach is that the subjective experience is at the center of the inquiry. It is different in that phenomenology makes in makes a distinction between the appearance of something and its essence. Phenomenology is not the same as phenomenology, although the differences are difficult to grasp for novice researchers. Okay, in the last I say, thanks for watching and thanks for attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you in the next video, okay? Bye.